But the truth is, this situation sucks for me right now, and I can't fool myself to think otherwise. I can't control my thoughts on the matter. I can't just change my mind. If I could, I'd be the happiest person ever. So this is where I'm at right now. It's been a while and I need to give an update, and I'm going to try something new. So this is my first real attempt at this. I've alluded to it in previous videos and I've always wanted to do it, but I've been so resistant to it, to just daily vlogging, to spontaneously doing it and not having it all pre-scripted and pre-planned. So here we go. Well, this is my breakfast as it is every day. I can't really change my mind on this, or my lunch or dinner, or any of my meals in between, because I just can't afford it. I can't afford to change things up and have a varied diet at the moment. So this is what it is for now, and it has been for the past few months. And I do some chores around the house to try to earn my keep. Okay, well, this situation isn't that bad. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have these wonderful people, my adopted family, to help me out, to allow me to stay with them in their home. But it's not ideal. I'm far away from my son and I won't get to see him as much. I don't have my own place. I don't have all my things. But at least it beats the alternative of living out of my car, which was plan A. I mean, this is a very comfortable place to live, and I don't take it for granted. It's a really nice house. But I'm not doing what I want to do, and I have tremendous uncertainty about my future. I have to work long hours just to pay for food and the remaining bills that I do have. I'm trying to remain positive, but this really is the lowest point of my life right now. I wish I could just flip a switch. I wish I could just easily and immediately change my mind about my current situation, to pivot to more positive aspects, as Abraham Hicks would suggest. And while I can do it sometimes and gradually make that shift, I still don't have as much control as I would like. For example, I can't predict my next thought. I can't completely control my next thought. And it makes me question the idea of free will, meaning, are we really completely free to choose our thoughts and actions? The whole idea of self-help and spiritual development is predicated on this idea of free will. The idealist philosopher Bernardo Kastrup argues that we do have free will in one sense, but we also don't have the complete free will we normally think we do. When mainstream materialists talk of not having free will, they mean that our choices are ultimately controlled by brain neurons, and it's all just physically determined. No, we can't change our minds. We're not in control. Our brains are. In that sense, we're definitely not free. But Bernardo refutes mainstream materialism and says we don't identify with our neurons or the purely mechanical workings of our nervous system. We identify with our preferences, our desires, and our hopes and dreams. But are we really free to act on those? By the way, when I say I'm going to do daily vlogging, I don't mean I'm going to vlog every day. I just can't. I wish I could. Maybe one day I will, but right now it's impossible. What I mean is I'm going to do a day in the life of type of vlog. So right now, you're coming with me for a workout. And another fail. I said I wouldn't script this, but I just had to write my thoughts down. And this quote from Bernardo Kastrup on how free will is a contradiction in terms. He writes, "It depends on there being semantic space between randomness and determinism. If it's random, it's not will. If it's determined, it's not free." Now, free can mean not determined, and will can mean not random. But what else is there if our choices are neither random or determined? And how can our choices be both free and determined? So to break this down again, first the word will. By will, we mean that our choices aren't random, that they're intended and determined by something. They're determined by me. They're determined by what I most identify as, by what I want. Now the term free. Free of what? We mean we can make our choices free of external influences, meaning external to whatever I consider myself to be, whatever I identify as. But are we ever completely free? A choice has to be based on something. It has to be determined by something. Past experiences, preferences, desires, tendencies. All of this can be said to predetermine what choices we will make. Our choices aren't random, even if they seem to be random and unpredictable at times. A whimsical impulse to go this way instead of that, for example. Maybe our choices are never random. Maybe they're always determined. It's just that there's no one who can have perfect knowledge of all the determining causes and their influences. Even more, we may not be explicitly aware of how we make most of our choices and what so-called unconscious factors may be involved. As Bernardo says in describing Jung's idea of the unconscious, the ego is a little boat floating on a raging ocean of psychic activity that it cannot control. If we knew all the movements of that raging ocean beneath, if we knew its exact pattern, we would be able to predict exactly where we're going. But while we can't know this in advance, in hindsight and with enough information, we can see just how predictable our choices and actions can be. We may never be completely free of the chain of determining causes. I mean, if I could choose to be content with my current desperate situation, I would. I would choose to not be so picky about where I live or how I live. I would choose to enjoy a life of poverty and a time away from my son. That's the type of free will we all may want, but know we can't have, where we can change how we think about a situation, what our preferences are, and what we want. As Bernardo says evocatively, if we really had that type of free will, someone serving life in solitary confinement at a maximum security prison would just choose to be happy. They would choose to consider that environment as the most comfortable and enjoyable condition ever. As Schopenhauer wrote, man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. So I really don't know. I don't know if I can change my mind about my current life situation, but I do want to. And maybe that's enough, to have the desire. I want to remain optimistic because I do believe in the power of positive thinking. But there's a big caveat to leveraging that power. The caveat of actually believing in what you want, of actually achieving a positive mindset in any given moment. In many situations, it may not come so easily, and it may be a slow and gradual process of realignment, precisely because it's not completely in my control, as I've been talking about here. I don't know. If I experience any more adversity or devastating situations, I may just change my mind on this. Like and comment if this resonated with you, and subscribe below to follow me on my journey. See you next time.